What's up, Dragon Nation? I'm Rich with Dragon Nation Gaming. Welcome back to the KSP Space Race. In this episode, we're going to be going into a new program, and it's going to consist of a new booster and a new upper stage. The program that we're going into started out as Able, but later on things would change, and yeah, it's actually pretty cool missions. So let's go ahead and get this started. Alright, so I'm trying to find these missions. The missions that we're talking about, I think it was Interplanetary Pioneer Program, are the Pioneer. Now, originally, the Pioneer Program was called the Able. So in 1958, 5 missions were approved, 3 of which would be managed by the U.S. Air Force, and they would be lunar orbiters. And then the other 2 would be managed by the Army. Now, the first one, which was aptly named Pioneer Zero, that mission failed, and then about 10 days after that mission failed, NASA would take over the program and rename it Pioneer. So I can't remember exactly what all Pioneer 1 had on it. I guess I could read all this shit to find out. But Pioneer 1, it did not actually make it to the moon. So Pioneer 1 was supposed to be an orbiting satellite, but unfortunately, it didn't quite make it to the moon. The reason is that the second stage, which was, what was it? The Thor Able. The second stage, which was the Able upper stage, it shut down early, so they tried to use the Star 20 engine to get in the path of the moon. Unfortunately, it didn't make it. They only made it about a third of the way. So what they tried to do was use the onboard engines, which I think were the Falcons, on the probe itself to try to get into an orbit. But unfortunately, it didn't make it. So it went on a ballistic trajectory, which just straight up, straight down, and crashed back down to Earth. But let's go ahead and take that one. So yeah, NASA took over the program, and the launch was October 11th, 1958. We're getting close, man. I think there's only one more launch in 1958. And then we move on to 1959. I think it was the score. I think it's in there somewhere. But yeah, let's go ahead and get to the VAB and see if we can build this damn thing. Alright, so what we're trying to build is the Thor Able. So we're going to start with the Able upper stage, which I think in Bluedog Design Bureau it's called the Alpha. Yep, there it is. Alright, so the Alpha was actually, or the Able was actually pretty simple. Just a guidance unit, a fuel tank, and then an engine. Hold on, let me go ahead and zoom in so I can actually see what the hell I'm doing. And I think it was this one. And make sure we get to the right snap point. It's actually the second one, so up right there. Now we do have an issue. I'm looking at the Alpha and there's some stuff missing. I think we need to go to the Science Center real quick. Don't save. We need to go ahead and unlock some research because, yeah, it looks like I have some missing parts. Alright, so it looks like we have about 108 science to work with. So we're just going to open everything in stages. And I think this stage right here will get us up to Gemini, I do believe. Let me actually check. I don't know. Oh yeah, there it is. That would be Gemini right there. Actually, that's not even Gemini. That is the Gemini command pod. Anyways, we still got a long time until we get to that. We still have 45 science, so we can open up one more. What am I really needing? Well, I don't think I need any of that until I get to the Aegina. And, well, that's going to be helpful later on, but not until we get to the Gemini. Any of this? Well, let's go ahead and get this one. I always like the flight controls. Alright, now that we got everything opened up, let's go ahead and try this again. So what I was missing were the interstage. There were 2 of them that connected the Thor to the Able, if we could ever get into the VAB. There we go. Alright, so let's try this again. So, alpha. There it is. Alright, so the first one I think was the SIF interstage. And it connects up here. And then the other one was the LCE. Now, you got to be careful because there's 2 snap points. And only one of them actually finishes the fairing. So we need to go to the upper one. There we go. Alright, now we need to do the paint job. Alright, so paint job, able. Same thing with the interstage and able. And this one down here does not have one. So that's it. So yeah, that is the Thor, or the able upper stage. Let me go ahead and name that, and then we'll build the Thor. Alright, so like I said, very simple. Just an upper liquid fuel tank, a lower liquid, no, that's the upper. Lower liquid fuel tank, there we go. Then we need the engine fairing. Where is the engine fairing? There it is. Alright, then we need the Finch engines, which there were 2 of those. These are stabilizers. They just keep the rocket stable as it's traveling into space. It actually makes it a pretty stable rocket. It's actually a really good rocket. This thing is all-purpose. Thor, I think it has, with upper stages, it has like 15 or 16 different upper stages. I think the Thor is still used today even. Alright, so we need the RL79. I think I need to change the configuration. Yep, right there, the first one, Balder. That's the one that we need for the Thor. At least this stage of the Thor. Later on, it will advance a little bit more, and we will get better rockets. But for right now, or better engines. Alright, then we need the aerodynamic fins. And there she is. Let's go ahead and do the paint job. So, able. And length stays the basic LT on that fuselage. And able. There we go. So that is the Thor. Next thing we need to do is go ahead and make the Pioneer 1. Alright, if I'm not mistaken, the Pioneers were called the Pilgrim in Bluedog Design Bureau. There we go. Alright, Pioneer 1 was this little thing right here. All this was a couple of fiberglass cones, one turned upside down, and then they were put together. Now, I don't know exactly what all research this had on it, but one of the things it did have on it was a, what do they call it, radiometer? It tested the radiation levels in the area that it was in. So they weren't able to do the science around the moon, but they were able to do the science on the Van Allen belt, trying to find the extent of it. But they actually discovered that the Van Allen belt had multiple layers. It was actually, I guess, it was what it was. Alright, so you will notice that this thing does have an onboard SRB. This was, I do believe, actually fired. So what happened was they only made it to about 1/3 of the way to the moon. Then what they tried to do was save the satellite so they could collect data. They used the, I think these were from the Falcon missile. Yeah, there's 8 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 8. I think these were from the Falcon missile. I think we still use those today. Not sure. Then a decoupler. So yeah, they tried to use those Falcon engines to put this thing into orbit of the Earth, but it did not make it. But at least they were able to collect a little bit of science, which means it wasn't a total failure. There's no such thing as a failure in science. Even if you make mistakes, sometimes mistakes can give you some really good rewards. Alright, so Vanguard, let's go over there because we need the Star 20. There she is. Let's go ahead and change the diameter. Now what we need is the decoupler. And now we also need the fairings. So let's go to alpha. And let's just do a simple fairing. Don't need to worry about two. I don't think that's the right one. That one's too big. Do we have a smaller one? I think this one. Yep, there we go. A little bit smaller. And there's the fairing. Alright, so now what we need to do is we need to go ahead and connect everything. So we need the Able upper stage merge. Let's go ahead and pull this up just a little bit. And now what we need is the Thor booster. So don't save. And the Thor. So merge. And there she is. So this is Pioneer 1. So let's go ahead. What we need to do, I think, is Pioneer 1, it needs to be in a suborbital trajectory, which means it doesn't make it into orbit. It just goes up and then goes down. It needs to reach an apoapsis of 10,000 kilometers. Wow. That's a high one. Actually, I think that goes past the Mun. But yeah, like I said, this mod, Bluedog Design Bureau, and the contracts, they were made for the real solar system mod. So yeah, we do need to do a little bit of science, but high in space, so yeah, and then it needs to be destroyed. So it looks like all we're going to be doing is going ballistic in a ballistic trajectory until we reach about 10,000 kilometers, and then we're going to do some science at that altitude, and then crash back down to Kerbal. So real easy, real simple mission. Let's see if we can do it. Alright, let's get everything set up. Let's take a look at our mission. Go ahead and change maneuver node. Turn on SAS, full throttle, and 3, 2, 1, launch. Oh shit. And that is why you always check your staging. Alright, let's go ahead, go to the mission, maneuver node, T for SAS, Z for full throttle, and in 3, 2, 1, launch. And there she is, our first Thor Able rocket with the payload of Pioneer 1. It was supposed to carry it to the moon, but unfortunately it didn't quite make it. So yeah, we're going to go on a ballistic trajectory, which is going to send us up and then straight back down. Hopefully. Now, I can't remember if it's a mod or if this is something vanilla, but you can actually time warp through a launch. So let's go ahead and do that. Yeah, because if I don't, this is going to be a really, really long one. I'm going to run out of shit to say, and you're going to hear me say some really dumb shit. Kind of like now. But anyways, yeah, what we're trying to pay attention to is our altitude. We need to get that up to 10,000 kilometers. Right now we're at 50, 60, 70. Like I said, pretty long one. Also pay attention to our fuel because we are going to have to stage here in a second. So staging in 3, 2, 1, stage. It wasn't bad timing. A little bit off. I could have done better. Alright, keeping an eye on our apoapsis. There is 1,000 kilometers. Once it gets up to 4,000 kilometers, it's going to go really, really fast. So we need to have our hands on the controls to slow down time warp and then throttle down. And there it goes. Are we high enough? We're high enough. Alright, couple other things I want to do real quick. We're going to go ahead and get rid of everything. So that way we're not using the electric charge on anything we don't need to use it on. So this is the point. This height is where the Star 20 got the Pioneer 1 in real life. Actually, it was about like right here. I need real solar system, but some of my mods don't work with it. But yeah, I got up to about this altitude, and then what they tried to do was they tried to use the small little tiny Falcon engines to try to make an orbit. Didn't quite work, and yeah, it crashed back down to Earth. So there we go. We still at altitude? Yes, we are. But yeah, look at those cute little engines, man. They're so small. I'm kind of wondering about the perspective. How big would that be to a person? Well, yeah, we need to go ahead and actually go to our fuel. We need to pay attention to electric charge. If we don't have electric charge, we cannot do the science and we cannot transmit it back. So let's go ahead, time warp. It's going down pretty slow. If we had everything else connected, it would go down a lot faster. All right, let's do this. And About right. I think we're already high in space. But just for the hell of it, I'm going to get as high as I can. I think the higher you get, the more signs you get. I'm not sure. Okay. Oh, I almost went over. God damn it. Hopefully we still have enough power to transmit. Let's see. Deploy all. Transmit. I think we're good. Go back to the mission. Yep, we're good. So the only thing we have left to do is to crash. Alright, there's Kerbal. Oh, look at Kerbal. Isn't she pretty? God, I love the mods that I have. Alright, let's go ahead and time warp. Not overdo it at all. So yeah, we're going to go up a little bit, and we should be going back down. Yep, there we go. Now we're starting to go back down. It kind of looks like we're still going up because the moon is moving. But yeah, that's just an illusion. We're good. Alright, are we really going that slow? What are we at? We're still pretty high. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Alright, let's go ahead and slow it down. I'm starting to panic a little bit. Alright, now we can speed it up again. And slow it down. So, oh shit. What will happen is if you go too fast, time warp too fast, you will just phase through the planet. So you do need to slow down at some point. And it looks like, there it is. Alright, so the Pioneer 1 was destroyed and we did complete the mission. Alright, so the only other mission that we have right now is to return to Kerbal from orbit. That will be 1959. I think that's the second mission. That will be the, what was it called? Corona. The Corona/Discoverer. Which we'll talk about when we get to that point. Alright, let's go ahead, go back to the Space Center. And see what that mission got us. How much money and how much science. Should got us a little bit if we ever get back to the Space Center. Oh, I hear the birds chirping. Ah, there it is. I thought the game crashed there for a second. Alright, so with that mission we now have 13 science. We also have 710,000 credits. So what I want to do is I want to double check some things. The first thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and upgrade the tracking station. Because right now we cannot see our apoapse or periapse. So I want to upgrade this so I can see that. Also, when we upgrade the tracking station, we can now make maneuver nodes. Which is going to be very, very important later on. Alright, yeah, the next mission, I think, is Score. Which means we're going to be building the Atlas rocket, which means we do need to upgrade the launch pad. That was 50,000 credits, and we need to upgrade the vehicle assembly building. Holy shit, 225,000. So, yeah, let's go ahead and double check. Let's check out our missions. So, available... Oh, it looks like we have a couple. So we have a build a new surface outpost on the moon, or on the mun. Gets me a little bit of money, not a whole lot, but a little bit. Then we have a collect science mission. Science data from space around Kerbal. Yep, we're going to go ahead and take that one. Alright, then nothing in exploration. Satellites and surveys we're not going to pay attention to. History of spaceflight. USA. Looks like we have 6 missions. Alright, let's take a look. USA Communication Program. This one should be... Score. Yep, there it is, right down there. Alright, so this was in December 18, 1958. All Score was a rocket that was sent into orbit, and on it, it had some recordings. One of those recordings was a Christmas greeting from President Dwight D. Eisenhower. And that's it. That's all it was. But technically, when the mission was done, the Score was the largest satellite in orbit of the Earth for quite some time. So it's kind of important, kind of not. But yeah, that is going to be the next mission. Everything else, I do believe, is in 1959. Let's see. Yep, everything else is 1959. So yeah, Score is going to be the last mission of 1958. And in 1959, we go into another new mission group, which is called... Shit, I can't find it. Hold on. It's going to be reconnaissance. There it is, reconnaissance, and then there it is, discover / Corona. Alright, so that's going to be the second mission. The first one is going to be Vanguard 2, I do believe. I'll probably do that one on my own, since it's pretty much the same thing as Vanguard 1. And yeah, next episode we'll go ahead and build ourselves Score. Yeah, Score. Until then, make sure to like and subscribe, all that good stuff. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.